All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. Running a few minutes late. That's my bad. But we are here to answer your questions, talk through some of our strategy for the slate. I'll start with the one and only Tattoo. I know you had a great NHL slate last night. I saw you send me a few screenshots. That was all NHL, right? Or was that someone else?
That was all NHL, but I did have a fourth place in showdown last night for NFL.
Sweet. Love to see it. And then Burns, y'all have seen his name plenty of times. He's wrote a book about it, winning the $1 million tournament. He's had multiple top 10 finishes. He's our stats guy. He's the one who knows all about the numbers when it comes to NFL DFS. How are you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good.
Nice. And then the one and only Razzle Dazzle. He's your college basketball guy, your NFL guy, your NHL DFS tout. He's great. Raz,
MLB.
Yeah, MLB. I don't even know how I forgot about that one, but Raz, the slate 8 gamer, week 17. Favorite time of year, right?
It's making me sick. I'll say that. I just keep looking at the DS and I want to puke right now.
Yeah, not for the faint of heart. I'll give you that. There's definitely a lot of gross names, but let's jump into it. Carlos, first question, bright and early. Good to see you, man. Happy New Year as well. With so many injuries last minute, as always, single entry quarterback, Burns, no Tua, but then maybe like Baker or Flacco. Those guys you just hate. I see it. I get it. All right. Favorite single entry quarterback? Tattoo, I'll start with you. Who's your favorite guy? Fun list of names here.
From those list of names, Baker. Yeah. But Jordan Love is my favorite.
So Jordan Love's your favorite. I think that's a really solid call. So far, so good. Raz, what about you, man?
It's probably Baker. You could talk me into Mason Rudolph, as
nice.
Much as it pains me to admit.
Rudolph train.
I mean, it's probably Baker Mayfield. I have some thoughts on Flacco. I have some thoughts on Jordan Love, but we'll save those as more questions come in.
Okay, that's going to be good. Burns, what about you? Favorite single entry quarterback?
It's probably Baker today.
Everybody's looking at Baker. Jordan Love is my favorite single entry quarterback play on the slate, but hard for me to argue. Baker, Sam Darnold's in that mix too, but it's Love for me. We need the Geek Hour pod. Geek does so many shows throughout the week, man. We got to give him a day. We have to give him one day. Yeah, things are getting pretty chalky. Josh will get there, though. Anyone looking at Cooper Rush? Tattoo, I feel like you would be the guy, if any, who might play Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I'll be looking at him when I'm watching the game.
Oh.
But I will not be following him along in my lineups.
Good. I feel like that's the right way of going about it. Raz, are you looking at Rush at all or no?
He ended up being the last quarterback I eliminated from my group. So,
thank God. Good.
I mean, so he was number 10 on my list. I'm at 9 quarterbacks for the main slate.
Yeah, I'm at 8, and I might get to 7, but I'm just glad no one's playing Cooper Rush. This is.
I think Rush can get you 20 points, but he's just not gonna, get you more than that.
We're all good. We're not playing Cooper Rush, and that makes us all better. Good. All right. Favorite standalone receiver today? Great question, because I feel like the wideout position is probably the only spot I still have a few questions. So, Burns, I'll start with you. Who's your favorite standalone wide receiver today?
Probably Mike Evans today at the upper range.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Tattoo?
I was gonna say Jalen McMillan, but
yeah, McMillan.
Just to go, away from Evans, little owner, probably half the ownership. and half the price.
All right. Everyone's high on these Bucks. What about you, Raz?
Well, I mean, mine was McMillan. McMillan's the only wide receiver I have as core right now. But I mean, it's Jefferson right now for me. Just a ton of targets. But yeah, I just love the Bucks for sure.
Yeah. Did we get the Christian Watson news?
I don't think we're going to get it officially for another 3 hours, but he's unlikely to play.
Okay.
That's good news. Good news for people with Reed in the championship game.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that came through about 7 hours ago. So yeah,
I mean, I wanted to make Reed, but the problem is like he legitimately has one game of more than 7 targets on the year.
Yeah,
it does not
a little worrisome.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll add in Wicks in that conversation for a standalone receiver I'm comfortable playing. I like playing him with Love, but he's even viable without him. And then I'm sure we'll talk about downs as we go throughout the show too. Josh Post said, looks like bad weather for most of these games. Definitely the Florida games. Yeah, definitely some weather we have to think about, but most of us don't really think about it too much. But I'll ask. Burns, is there any weather environment type of games that are really impacting who you're playing on this slate?
Not a weather standpoint, but I'm completely off the offenses for Cleveland and Miami since Tua's now out. So I won't even be touching that game.
Yeah,
maybe just the defenses.
And did that Raiders news, them flying in late, did that impact anything for you?
I've lowered Jacoby Myers. So.
Yeah. Same. But
I'm not getting any Alexander Madison in runs. So
yeah. And Myers fell a little bit naturally just in the domination station, so that helped too, which is nice. But all right. And then what about you, Raz? Any weather impacting things for you?
Not really. I mean, with rain, I need it. Ultimately I just need super windy before I want to consider doing much. A lot of these teams can withstand some weather issues. Like they have plays that just get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quickly, not big downfield plays. So a lot of times some of those weather spots are great for some of the wide receiver plays because people just don't expect them to get passes, but they end up catching 7-8 balls with an 8 out of 4 yards, but they still rack up receptions.
Devontae Adams is healthy now. No Q tag. If that means anything.
I mean, it should make you feel a little bit better about playing him if you're going there.
Since I just literally put him in a line.
And Brian is asking if Tua's out, who's taking a flyer on the Browns defense? I think a lot of people will be. They're not going to be low owned or sneaky, but they're definitely going to be viable at that price tag for sure. Josh, whoa. We're on time at least 70% of the time on this show. I won't talk about the other shows, but on this one, we're at least usually starting at like 11:30 or 11:31.
To be fair, 3 of us were definitely on time.
Hey, this time, yeah. Sometimes I'm waiting on the other guys. You never know. And then Xavier said, "How are you guys attacking the tight end position?" Another
hands
spot.
on the shoulder. Oh, sorry.
What was that tattoo?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, who do you like at the tight end position?
Moi.
You? Well, Ferguson.
Me? Yeah, I like Ferguson, but I like Tyler Conklin today.
Conklin. Okay.
And
why?
Tucker
What has
Kraft.
you on Conklin?
He just puts up decent numbers, and he's pretty cheap. You can definitely pass against Buffalo.
Also true.
So just, good price, and he seems to get, I can't remember what it was now, but he gets pretty good targets every week.
Yeah. What about you, Raz? Who are you looking at the tight end position?
I actually made Chig a core play for me.
Damn. Okay.
With all the Tajay Spears love, like I'm doubling down that way.
Fair.
Ferguson definitely makes sense. Payne Durham probably makes a lot of sense since we like Tampa Bay quite a bit. Somebody I'm still gonna get exposure to, Bowers, of course. Yeah, Chig is gonna be my biggest stance at the tight end position.
Yep. And then Burns, who are you looking at?
I boosted Juwan Johnson, so I can get him in the lineups. I do like Chicago as well. But a weird thing is, just naturally running the domination station, I get a lot of Kellen Granson, so that might actually become a play today with Joe Flacco. So,
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about Granson too much. I don't think he wasn't showing up for me. Let's see. Yeah, he's only 2,500. That's not a bad play at all. I think the only guy we didn't touch on that's showing up for me a good bit is TJ Hawkinson. Yeah, he's just in a good game environment. I'm looking to target this Vikings Green Bay game, and so they're the two guys that are he's just the guy that I'm going to make a priority. And you said it was who am I looking for?
Granson, probably.
Yeah, Kyle.
Mo
2,500. No, I'm looking for Kyle Johnson. That's just a name I'll forget about if I don't. Oh, Granson. Put a little bit of emphasis on him now at super low ownership. I like that. Sweet. Okay. JM said, any thoughts on Irving and White for FanDuel? I am being very undecisive about my flex. I have 6,800 left to put in White. Should I change my lineup and put Irving in over White? He is priced at 8K. Burns, I know we talked about this a good bit on Tactics on Friday. Curious to see if your thoughts have changed at all.
I think Rachaad White's a perfect DK play. I'm not so sure about FanDuel. I think he's going to be a part of the passing game. So I don't play a lot on FanDuel, so I don't even really look at the implications over there other than the fact that you should probably be looking at touchdown props for FanDuel. So I can get his props, but they're definitely not as good as Irvin's props. So
what are your thoughts here, Raz?
Yeah, I don't know that I want to use White on FanDuel. I have a FanDuel running back play that I like much more, and obviously Burns doesn't like him from this talk about the Browns game, but I would much rather play Jerome Ford. But it depends on how much you have to change your lineup around, right? Like if it just turns into like a 2v2 swap, that's different. But if all of a sudden now you're changing 4 guys, then it might not make sense to jump up to Irving.
Do you feel differently here at all, Tattoo?
I mean, I would agree, Bucky, on FanDuel. I'm playing Rachaad White on DraftKings and doubling down because I need him in all my season-long championships. So.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, no, I agree. I think on DraftKings, I'm over the field on Rachaad White because of that receiving upside he has. But then on FanDuel, you're hearing what we're saying is a little bit tougher for us to prioritize White over there. Receptions not counting for as much, and touchdowns just being king over there on FanDuel. Jay said, "Who's your 100%er, Burns, and what are your flex percentages?"
Just go into my channel; they're all there.
There you go.
No, I'll answer it. Tajay Spears and flex is 50, 15, 100. So
Nice. George said DS is giving me the Raiders tight end Justin Shorter. Who is that guy? Are you seeing him show up at all for you, Burns?
no, not at all.
He's
Not
showing up
for me either.
He's showing up a ton for me.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I just eliminated his projection because I have no idea who he is. And my internet apparently on my computer is out, so I'd look more into him. But I mean, at this point, like, I'm not playing the number 3 tight end on Vegas. If he even is the number 3 tight end.
Yeah, couldn't be me. I agree. I would do the exact same thing. Kraft, Hawk, Ferguson, only for you. I get it. What's up, King, Xanders? John, you're not wrong. NHL has been crushing it a ton this season. We've been doing well over there in NBA side of things too. Had a 70K win earlier this week, which is sweet. Cedric, what's up, man? John, Calgary, Tampa. Jose, what's up? Said, Josiah, is the Minnesota Green Bay game the best game to get to? Yes, it is the game that I'm looking to target the most on this slate. Mr. Andy said, I am taking the Dallas defense. I feel like Dallas is going to stack the box and force Pickett to throw. Pickett sucks. I am playing Pickett this Sunday, but yeah, you're not wrong. He is pretty much hot garbage.
What have you ever seen in Pickett to make you want to play him?
What was that?
So what have you ever seen in Pickett that makes you want to play him?
Just me seeing the Dallas defense on the other side of
You saw what they did to Baker last week.
They've been good. They've actually been good recently. Baker, Panthers, they've made them both struggle, but we'll see. Burns, how do you feel about the Cleveland defense as a low-end play with Tua not playing?
Probably a low end in terms of salary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's a decent play. I don't know about Huntley today. I don't know if he can actually do anything really. But yeah, it's a good play.
Nice. All right. And how many players are you guys allowing against the defense today? Burns, have you given this any thought yet?
I think it's one that I'm doing.
Yeah. Raz, you just switch things up there at all?
Right now I'm at 0, but I'm obviously playing a lot with it. So one makes sense on this type of slate just because it's so gross.
Yeah.
But
Tattoo, you changed this at all?
I didn't MME or anything today, and when I hand built, I don't think I got there. A player against defense, but
yeah, I went back and forth on this. I think if the game environments were a bit better on the slate, I would be open to having at most 1 or maybe even 2 players against the defense. But all the defenses that I'm playing, I genuinely don't really want exposure to the other side of the ball. So yeah, I'm going to keep it at 0. The Ken Knief said Barkley plus Dallas defense. Pickett will give the defense points. Barkley still goes off. Yeah, that's a good example of wanting to. Well, no, that's not the example. But yeah, Dallas defense is fine.
I was gonna say I would, if you're looking at that kind of combination, I would want to do it with more of a cheaper running back because you need Saquon to have volume and touchdowns because he's so expensive that I think it takes away from Dallas's defense a little too much. I think you could get away with it. Somebody like Blackshear and Tampa Bay's defense, right? So
yeah, because they're so cheap, they don't have to do too much,
right,
to break the slate. Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah. Cool. All right. Any advice on single entry strategy for today? Tattoo, I know you mentioned you're focusing on single entry today. Any advice you want to share?
Well, I guess it depends on the contest, whether you're trying to throw a single entry against 20,000 people or you playing a single entry against 100 people. So but my strategy is I stay chalky and then just try to find a spot or two to change it around just to be different.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if you're in one of those huge ones, I mean, shit, it might as well be a GPP, MME, because you're gonna have to be perfect.
Yeah, not wrong. John said low turn, Blackshear or Boone. Looking at these cheap Panther running backs. Raz, who are you looking at here?
I am going to have a little more Blackshear than Boone. Knowing how Boone's been used by previous teams, like I would imagine he's probably more of a third down back.
Yep.
For them. So I think, and then obviously Blackshear's been on the roster much of the year, if not the whole year. Mm-hmm. Boone's been a practice squad guy. Yep. Like I'm still going to lean towards the guy that's been there, the longest. But I mean, I'm going to get exposure to both. Maybe not more than a combined 8 or 9%, but I'm still going to have exposure to both.
Yeah, and I'm taking a similar approach from the sounds of it. I am prioritizing Blackshear. I'll have around 8 to 10% of him. I just want to see him show up. I don't love playing running backs in this situation. I just don't think the Panthers will be able to keep it close enough for running backs from this team to be overly viable, but I still want some exposure here with him being so cheap. And then I have about 5% exposure to Mike Boone, thinking he'll probably get some of those red zone touches, and then he'll get those third down touches too. So he's the one I'm more nervous about, but I wanted to make sure I had exposure to both. Burns, what do you do, if anything, to these guys?
I've basically, I think I have 2 lineups with Blackshear, and I don't have anything with the other guy. So, yeah, that's kind of how I'm running it.
Makes sense.
I don't want a lot of these guys.
Understandably so. Tattoo, you playing Blackshear or Boone?
I thought about Blackshear, and I may still go back to him. But right now I don't have him. Okay.
Dan said, how much above the field do you try to be on your top plays? Raz, I'll start with you. What's your philosophy here?
It kind of depends, because like I'm not a lot of those guys I'm still not making a different max exposure for. Mm-hmm. So like if it's a guy that's 22% for the field and I'm super high on him, like sure, I'm 10% over the field or whatever. But if it's somebody that's coming in at 5 to 7%, mm-hmm. like I might go 5x the field and have 25 to 30% of them if I feel like they're a strong play for me. And generally that's at the wide receiver position more so than running backs.
What about you, Burns? I feel like you're going to have a similar answer to what I would say here.
Yeah, I don't really like have a set amount that I go above. Mm-hmm. Guys that are popping for me today probably aren't popping for other people, Like Breece Hall's popping for me today. I like him a lot. He's probably not popping for anybody else. I didn't do anything for him. I didn't even boost his projection. I'm getting 25% Breece Hall, and I'm just going with it. It's a weird slate. I don't give a shit. I'm going with it. So, but guys that I'm really high on, the domination station gives me a shit ton of them. I'm going to take it, all day long. So, I boost guys that are in the 6K range more than I boost any other salary range, because those are the guys that are more likely than not going to be in winning lineups. So,
yep. Yeah, I was going to say something similar. I don't really think about how much over the field I am 9 times out of 10, unless it's like a forced leverage play that I'll do with like a quarterback. Outside of that, running backs, receivers, really just kind of letting the DS decide how over on someone I'll be. Nice. People are liking Jordan Love. Yeah, I like Pickett today, Mr. Torin. I'm not going too crazy, but 5% is enough for me. Kyle said last time, all right. Philip said, how about Jaden Daniels on FanDuel? Tattoo, I know you're playing on FanDuel. You looking at Daniels at all over there?
I'm building a FanDuel lineup, and I started with Jaden Daniels. So.
Yeah. Raz, you interested in Daniels over on FanDuel at all?
Not at 8,500 for me. I'm going to play Baker for a few hundred less. The quarterbacks in the Viking game for 700 and 800 less. So, that's just a preference there, but
Okay.
you can get there because there's some value at running back. Right?
Jose said, how many do you stack Love with? Is triple stacking too much? Stacking with Love is really one of the main questions I still have left on this slate, just because there's so many different variations you can have. Burns, I know you like Love, or who are you stacking him with, if anybody?
Jaden Reed at the higher range, and then probably Dontavian Wicks and Tucker Kraft.
Yep. Yeah, Love is a +2 stack for me, and that's pretty much the combination I have is a mixture of like Wicks, Reed, and Kraft and Dobbs. But the one guy I know I want is Reed. The other guys are just kind of a mixture that are whoever's going to pop. Julie said, any love for Daniels and Zacchaeus and McLaurin stacks against the crappy Falcons pass defense? Tattoo, who are you stacking Daniels with in those lines that you have?
I did McLaurin.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, Kyle, Baker and Evans are going to be the chalk on this slate, but I get it for good reason, in my opinion. Let's see. Anyone like a Colts stack today? Yeah, I feel like we have to talk about it, Raz. I know you mentioned earlier you have some strong thoughts on Flacco. I guess I'll start with you. Last week, we were able to come to a pretty solid conclusion of fading a chalky quarterback. Let's see if we can do it again. Right now, I'm on board with Flacco, though.
Right now, I'm really trying to convince myself to fade Joe Flacco.
Okay.
We've seen this before where everybody gets hyped about Joe Flacco starting, right?
Yep.
He had one great game against Jacksonville, but then his other performances were 15 points and less in his 3 other starts where he's getting all this hype about using him. I don't think that we're going to see a 30 out of him. Sounds like the Giants are pretty motivated to actually get a win at home. Whether that's true or not for the front office, I don't know, because I'm sure they want the number 1 pick. But I am lowering a lot of the passing game projections for the Colts. That's one of my 2 kind of stands on the slate with some of the chalkier options that the Colts are showing.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that's gotten me all week has been I have not liked attacking or picking on this Giants defense. They're young, but they're good. So it just hasn't been something that I've liked to do too much of this season. But I don't know, Burns, what are you doing with Flacco? You're playing him?
Yeah, I guess. He's so cheap. But yeah, he's one of my 5 quarterbacks today. I don't know, man. I've thought about taking him out of the pool completely, but I don't know. He's tough.
Tattoo, where are you at?
I've built like 3. I'm going to build one more lineup. He's in 1, and I stacked him with Downs and Taylor. I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to just wanting to take him out, but I'm not going to do it. The DS still likes him, and I already wrote him up on my leverage sheet, so I'm going to keep him for now. But I do think there's so many other viable quarterbacks on this slate. and they can be cheap or more expensive than Flacco, who I think have just as much upside as he does. But Flacco is a stack +2 for me, and so in those Flacco stacks, I'm seeing guys like Josh Downs and Jonathan Taylor, but Michael Pittman Jr. is really the main guy that I'm forcing in there a bit more. So actually, I'm double checking. I did show Flacco +1, but then Jonathan Taylor's naturally showing up enough where he's basically a +2. Anyone else you want to talk about here, Burns, that you forced in here with Flacco?
No, I think we got them all. For some reason, the domination station's adding a Donnie Mitchell, and I just don't like it that much.
I don't see that.
But yeah, I don't know what other quarterbacks use. I mean, Aiden O'Connell, he's going to be crap today. I don't know, man. These guys are just not that good, you know. Like, I don't know if Bryce Young's going to be money today or not. You know, I've thought about adding them.
I'll take Mason Rudolph for $100 more against the defense that Flacco put up 30 against.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, it's the Rudolph Pickett plays that are kind of like my hedge off of the Flacco play I don't like that much. It's playing the cheap Rudolph and Pickett, who are really bad quarterbacks, but have good matchups. Damn it. I am at least just going to be around field weight exposure on Flacco. I'm not going to be over the field on him. That will at least give me a little bit more peace of mind. I just like being contrarian for the hell of it. So let's see. Brandon Cooks with Lamb out. Tattoo, what are your thoughts on this? It's still Cooper Rush throwing. So
Still Cooper Rush throwing. I wouldn't say that. I mean, Brent, I would take Ferguson probably as my main pass catcher, as far as Dallas goes. But yeah. That's about the only one I trust. Brandon Cooks is okay, but
yeah. John, I would go Blackshear here. Boone is more of a dart throw. You're just hoping he gets a touchdown for you, which is probable, but not something I'm looking to force too much of. I do like Addison a good bit, John. Not a bad play. Let's see here. Yeah, weather has impacted things a bit more this season, for sure. James said best 2 wide receivers on the slate. I know he already touched on one, but who's another wide out you like a good bit, Raz?
Going back to Brian Thomas Jr. I also think A.J. Brown, even though I'm not playing Pickett, the amount of times that Pickett came in and targeted A.J. Brown immediately last week, like, I feel like even if Pickett doesn't go off or get there for you, like, I feel like A.J. Brown can still approach getting there.
It sounds like you really want to play Pickett.
No, really, I really don't at all. I'll just play A.J. Brown.
Okay, fair enough. Tattoo, what about you? Who's another wideout you like?
Are we just assuming like Justin Jefferson's the greatest wide receiver?
Yeah, I mean, if Justin Jefferson, I feel like I haven't heard a lot of people talk about him. So you can definitely list him as yours for sure.
He's not, but you were saying we all know who one is.
The top is probably the Tampa Bay wide receivers, right? Like,
yeah,
because we've already talked about them too. So
I do really like Devontae Adams today.
Okay.
I think that him and I gotta say Favre, him and Rodgers might just try to style, one of their last games together. So
yeah. And then Burns, who's like the second wideout you're looking at? I know you touched on Evans already.
Yeah, I don't know if I have one in particular. I'm running so many wide receivers. But if I had to pick one out, guys like Jaden Reed, Kahil Shakir, Wandell Robinson, these guys are interesting plays that are really low owned. So Yeah, I don't know if I have specifically as a number 2 wide receiver. So
Okay. All right. Let's see. What does the projected ownership look like this week? And we touched on flex percentages already, Savage. I hope you caught that one. But projected ownership cap, where are you going to be at for that, Burns?
I'll be at 160.
Yep. And for those of you who are wondering what you're looking at and what we mean by ownership cap, it's a setting here in the domination station. You can have access to this. If you click the link in the description, feel free to use promo code TATTOO, TATTOO, for a 10% discount there. And then you can have access to the domination station. You'll have access to the Discord, and we can answer all your questions there as well. All right. Everyday Things said, hear me out. Mo, Ali, Cox, Min Price, tight end, smash. You can name, honestly, whatever random tight end you want to from the Colts, and they will possibly get a touchdown today. But what are your thoughts on Mo, Ali, Cox? He's definitely viable. But, Raz, are you looking at him?
I'm not looking at him. I mean, as long as he is good to go, I thought he was questionable, but I think he's been the tight end that's played or been targeted the most out of the group or most recently. But again, I'm going to be underweight on the passing game for the Colts, so probably not the best person to ask about their tight ends.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm this close to just fading Joe Flacco in general, so I'm not getting convinced on more of these guys. What about you, Burns? I know you're the tattoo or you're the tight end whisperer.
He's a tattoo whisperer.
I don't know. I ran it a couple more times, and I'm not getting much of those tight ends anymore. It's probably because I lowered ownership to Joe Flacco in general. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be getting any of them anytime soon. So
yeah. All right. And then let's see, who else are we working with here? Yep, everyone likes Addison. Is Bucks tight end a decent play? He did well last week. You don't need him to do much. Durham, what are your thoughts on him, Raz?
Yeah, he's probably my favorite guy under Chig at 3,600. So 2,900 for Durham in a game. We expect Tampa Bay to try to score a bunch of points because they need the W. Targets, he just doesn't look all that explosive or downfield. It's more of a safety valve, I guess. So he's almost somebody that I want to play in lineups that don't have Jalen McMillan or maybe not even have Mike Evans. I'm not sure. Definitely McMillan, just because Evans is a big play touchdown guy. I think you can pair them together, but it almost makes me feel like I should just play him as a one-off in non-Baker lineups, to be honest.
Yeah. I think he's fine there too. Just very viable. Yes, OG, I like stacking both of these games. Not a bad call at all. OG said, name 2 players likely to hit a touchdown twice. It's okay if you just choose one. Raz, who do you like? Who's likely to get a touchdown twice for you today?
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good to me. What about you, Tattoo?
Well, since I won't just double down on Taylor, I will say that shit. Mike Evans scores 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. What about you, Burns?
I'll go Saquon Barkley then.
Yeah. Those were my 3 right there. Mike Evans, Jonathan Taylor, or Barkley. I mean, I could say potentially Justin Jefferson, but I think that's getting a little too cute. He hasn't been doing
needs to tear his ACL today.
Who?
Okay. Hey, we can dream, can't we?
We can, I guess I'll just let that one ride. All right. Should we just play Barkley open that day, hoping that they give them enough touches so that he can break the record? I have a shit ton of Barkley, but he's also super chalk. I think everyone's doing that. Burns, do you have any strong opinions on Barkley today?
I'm just letting him fly. That's all.
Yep. Daniels or Baker on FanDuel? Raz, what are your thoughts here?
I'm going Baker just because I like the way that my builds come together with Baker. I'm not playing much on FanDuel, but Baker's the only quarterback I'm using as of right now.
Good stuff. Shorter is tied in 4. Are you guys on Bryce Young at all today? I am. I'm playing him just around field weight exposure. I'm not going over the field. He hasn't shown any like true GPP upside at this price tag. So that's part of why I'm not going crazy, but it's hard to find a game where you're going to be super excited about the guy this week.
He just went 5x this price tag last week.
He's significantly more expensive this week, though, right?
I know, but he went 5x this price tag at 5.6K.
Oh, yeah, 27. Yeah, he was close. Let me see. 5.6.
I mean, it's just under 5x.
Yeah.
28 would be 5x.
You're not wrong. He is just under that 5x, which is why I'm playing him at field weight exposure. But that's a long way of me saying I do not trust it. He did have 23 points against Tampa earlier this season, but again, this game's not at home, so it's just hard for me to get excited about telling other people to play him when I know there's a lot of risk involved there.
I'm doubling the field weight. So
okay, all right. So you're who are you stacking him with? Are you doing +1 or +2?
+1. Thielen mostly.
Yeah.
But obviously some of the other guys are sliding in there as well. Coker.
Leggett, as they should. Fair.
Leggett's only showing up in one lineup right now. But
yeah,
that'll change as I go into my stat combinations and make adjustments that way.
Yeah, me too. All right, Tattoo, what about you? You looking at Bryce at all? No.
Only, but I mean, I didn't build but 4 lineups. I mean, so.
Yeah, fair. What about you, Burns? Any interest?
I don't know. He's someone that I've been kind of tossing back and forth. I don't know if I want to get to him or not yet.
Yeah. And I'll go right back to you on this, Burns. Who or how would you rank the Green Bay wide receivers?
I think Jane Reed's your 1. Dontavian Wicks, because his salary is so low, is probably 2, and then Tucker Kraft, and then Dobbs for me.
Nice. Yep, Flacco's your cheap option. Jonathan, I can't with you, man. John said Raiders defense or Browns defense. Raz, what are your thoughts here?
Browns D.
Raiders or Browns? What about you, Tattoo?
Browns.
Burns, are you on the Browns as well?
Yeah, I don't really like the fact that the Raiders missed their flight. They had to change out their flight. So I think the Raiders are a shit show today. So I don't know. I'd say Browns.
Hard to get behind them right now. And yeah, Jose, I think this group likes Jonathan Taylor a lot. Burns, you're the only one I don't think I've heard mention Taylor. Do you have any interest in him?
Yeah, he's going to be in a lot of lineups for me, probably 25, 30% lineups.
Nice. And then Ken said, any of you like a wild Bucky with white stacks since it is a smaller slate with a lot of chalk? I thought about it, and then I realized it's going to be a hard pass for me. What about you, Raz? Any interest in Bucky white stacks?
No, only because, like, I don't think I'm going to be playing Bryce Young. I don't think Carolina keeps it super close.
Mm-hmm.
To have both Bucky and Rachaad White getting touches on like the same drive, rushing and then passing. So it just doesn't feel like a spot to me where they both can get it done. I think it's one or the other.
Yeah, not gonna lie. If the Panthers can find a way to keep this game close without Chuba playing, That's what dreams are made of right there. Delusion, but dreams. Dreams.
I don't want to talk about Cuba.
Fair. All right, let's see. Burns playing any Tracy Jr. today?
I think I might have one. No. The last run I did, I don't have any of him. But yeah.
Yeah, I forced some in. I just like picking on the Colts defense. I know Tracy's been a little bit dicey. Anyone like Brees? Burns, I know you mentioned Hall briefly.
Mhm.
Do you want to elaborate at all?
Sure. Basically, Buffalo is an attackable defense via the run. Let's see. So they rank 30th in average fantasy points against the position. They're 20th against pass catching running backs. The only downfall is that their defensive front is actually pretty decent. It's a top 10 defensive front, and the rush DVOA for the Jets isn't very good. But on a slate where we have a lot of like chalk across the board, you got to pick and choose your battles. So you got to go overweight on certain guys. You got to go underweight on certain guys. And Brees Hall, I have 20% of him right now. So that's where I'm at.
Perfect. Looks like a lot of people agreed with you on that. And then tattoo of Alec Pierce back. Does that make you more nervous about guys like Downs and Pittman at all?
No, I still think Downs is like their main target.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What about you, Raz? Any more nerves around guys like Downs and Pittman with Pierce back?
Not overly. Pierce is just a big play guy to me. Where Downs and Pittman really aren't. They're not taking those super long A-dot passes anyways. So him being back might actually help them a little bit. But again, I'm not big on the passing game for the Colts this week.
Yeah, it might burn me, but I'm not playing Flacco this week. I just can't do it. I didn't like the matchup against the Giants earlier, and so I'm not going to go back off of that now. I do still like the price tag. So I do think if you are playing a lot of Flacco, having a little bit of Pierce in your mix to get a little bit different isn't a bad call by any means. Thoughts on Madison versus the Saints? Raz, I know you hit on this spot with the Raiders last week, so I'll look at you again. What are your thoughts on Madison?
I am going to sprinkle him in some.
Okay.
We just saw the Packers absolutely destroy the Saints on the ground. We saw Madison last week get 7 targets in the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
And he just has, touchdown upside. He's not going to break a 40-yard touchdown run by any means, but from a volume standpoint, and then the fact that he's going to be low owned and he's kind of a pivot away from some chalkier cheap guys, maybe he makes sense. I think I'm only going to have 4 or 5%, to be honest, but this is somebody I want to mix in just a little bit of.
Okay. Jonathan said, you guys got anything on Rico Dowdle? Burns, what are your thoughts here? You looking at Rico at all?
He was a guy that at first I bumped his projection down. It's not an easy matchup that he's going up against Philadelphia here on the road. But I took that negation of the boost off, and I'm still only getting like 2 lineups with him. So I don't know if he's going to be a viable player or not today.
Yeah. He's only showing up in about 5% of my lines too, so not really a substantial amount by any means. Lazard for 4K looks like he put up big numbers against Buffalo last time. Raz, you looking at Lazard at all?
I am not. I probably should because I am going slightly overweight on Adams and Garrett Wilson.
I thought you were about to say Rodgers, and I was like, "Whoa." Okay,
I'm using Rodgers. I don't know. I guess I am going overweight on Rodgers since he's only 3%.
Yeah, fair.
But I'm getting 6% Rodgers, so I guess it's technically overweight. I'm not going to rely on Lazard. Week 6 against Buffalo was his huge game. Obviously, Devontae Adams wasn't there at that point. I don't know if Garrett Wilson was fully healthy or did something happen to Wilson that game too. But things have changed for the Jets since that performance.
Yeah. And then, Tattoo, are you comfortable with having Baker and Irving in the same line?
Yeah. If I got Baker, I'd probably rather use that money to get to Evans and go cheaper with my running backs. Man, and if I did, I'd probably take White with Baker.
Yeah. Are you in that same line of thinking, Burns, or do you feel differently?
Yeah, I made a rule that you can't have Irving with Baker in my runs. So I'm not getting him at all with Baker. So because of that rule, and it's just not a viable correlation. So yeah, that's about it.
Makes sense. And then how much are we liking Spears today versus the Jags? Is this one of those spots, Raz, where you were like, you want to get different again? I'm already following you on Flacco. Talk me off of Spears.
This is the spot. Current projected ownership on DK looks to be 37.5%.
Yep.
I think everybody's just jumping into the shiny toy because he scored 4 touchdowns the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You eliminate those 4 touchdowns from his point total, it cuts it in half over the last 2 weeks. He hasn't been an explosive running back. Just not explosive plays running the football. His high carry on the year is 19 yards. His longest carry since week 10 is 11 yards. I just don't understand the helium that goes, other than the fact that it's Jacksonville's defense, maybe. So can I get to a complete fade? I don't know that I can do that, but I'm working at trying to get Spears at like 14 to 16%. He's not, he's more of a smaller running back, right? So we can't rely on those touchdowns like that. He's not a huge goal line guy that's going to just bully his way into the end zone. So touchdown regression is real. And if you take those away, he's just hasn't been explosive enough for me.
So you're taking some shots on Chestnut, right? No?
I'm just relying on their passing game.
Okay.
Maybe I guess Chestnut could vulture a touchdown, but I don't, even that, him vulturing a touchdown doesn't put Chestnut in play all that much either, right? 8 points out of him, I'm not going to feel happy about it.
Yeah, understandable. What are your thoughts here, Burns? Are you looking at potentially going lower on Spears, or are you liking the play?
I'm probably above the field on him right now. Oh man, it's an interesting dynamic, especially with what Raz just said. You have to choose your battles today, and he's low enough of a salary where if he only gets you 15, he's not going to kill your day. But I like guys like Rachaad White who are a little bit higher in salary, a little bit more. I like them more today, but I don't know. It's a good matchup. The matchup is almost pristine for him, but the implied team total doesn't really make me feel too well. I don't know. It's 20 points and an implied team total. I like to see 24 plus. So for my favorites.
Yeah, not a lot of plays this week that you're going to click on and feel great about. That's for sure. But I'm playing Spears. I'm around 50%, so I'll be significantly over the field there. But I think those are valid concerns that Raz mentioned. Tattoo, are you on board or are you jumping off?
What?
Of Spears.
Spears. Oh no, I got him in 3 of my 4 lineups.
Nice. All right. And then Xander said, in my lineup, I already have Reed, but I also have Dobbs. Should I switch out Dobbs for Pierce? For me, that's no. What do you think, Burns?
No, I would say stay where you're at.
Yeah. All right. Let's
I
see.
think Dobbs is an excellent GPP play.
Yeah.
Everybody's jumping onto Wicks after his big target game last week, even though all those targets came with like 20-some yards or something. Like it could easily be one of those games where Dobbs just bounces back and shows up again that he randomly has. So with nobody talking about Dobbs, like I might slide Dobbs into my second favorite pass catching spot for the Packers for large field purposes.
Very fair. And then let's see. Any interest in ETN? Travis Etienne. Burns, you want to touch on this one?
I've came off of him a bit.
Okay.
I don't see any reason why you can't get like a lineup or 2 of him. I've just floated my interest to other running backs today that I like more. So I just didn't get any of him in lineups. But if you have a lineup or 2 of him and he goes off, that's like really good. So I don't mind it at all. So
Cool. Let's see. The Cookies crew said, love Dolphins defense or Baker with Raiders defense. I have Reed and McMillan already. Tattoo, who do you like here or prefer here?
Love and Dolphins D or Baker and oh Jesus Christ. I love both quarterbacks and I hate both defenses. I love in the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's where I would go to. Garrett Wilson, after not wanting to play with Rodgers next week. Yeah, not wrong. I'm against A.J. Brown in my league championship. I have Barkley, but the guy who has Brown is a very lucky player. Yeah, not wrong. It's a good spot to be in for him. But for you, having Barkley helps a ton. Rodgers is going for 500 career touchdown needed. Adams is going for the ride. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, you're not wrong, Kyle. So it keeps everyone playing. Jordan Atkins. Burns, are you looking at Atkins at all?
no. This game is going to be brutal game. I don't know.
Yeah. For a single entry DK, all right. I see you, Mr. 5. Hope that comes through for you. Top defense below 3K. Raz, I'll start with you. Below 3K, who's your favorite defense?
Probably the Saints. Otherwise, the Browns. Like I'm playing a lot of the Browns against the Dolphins, potentially or probably without Waddle. Tyreek Hill was close to missing. I guess it sounds closer that he was closer to missing this week than any of those other weeks that he's been questionable. So the Browns kind of are the team that I'm just gonna play a ton of at 2,400.
Yeah. What about you, Tattoo?
Browns, Cowboys, Giants. I'll give you 3 of them.
I think the Giants are a smart play because everybody's talking about Flacco so much.
Yeah.
And they're 2,300.
That helps.
You took it right out of my mouth. But yeah, the Giants are the defense I like in this range, and I've liked them for a while. What about you, Burns?
Salary range is in the 2s.
Below 3K.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I like the Giants a good bit. Let's see. Browns are also in a really good spot. So, but they'll be owned. Yeah, the Giants are probably your low owned. Get off of the Browns play for sure. Like it. They're at home too.
Perfect. All right. Now, favorite low owned sneaky play. You can do it by position if you want to, or your just favorite low-owned play. Razzle, I'll start with you again. Who are you looking at here?
I mean, at the quarterback position, like in my eyes, there's only two guys that I would consider low owned in my 8 now that I eliminated a quarterback, and it's Aaron Rodgers and then Bryce Young. But I mean, Rodgers is one of those guys that I think just plays to spite people. So it feels like it's a game that he could throw 3 touchdowns, and he'd walk off the field with that cocky ass smirk on his face.
Yeah.
Running back. I mean, I played a bunch of Jerome Ford, but one guy that I've jumped up on now with the news that I saw, we didn't bring it up because it probably didn't register much for anybody. Kendre Miller. Jordan Mims was inactive today. And the reason why Kendre didn't get all that many touches in the second half last week is because Mims was used a ton in the passing game. So I think Kendre Miller could see a few more touches in the passing game. I would guess they'd go to him more than Jamal Williams passing-wise. So he's somebody that I am now increasing. Wide receiver's tough. I mean, we talked about Jaden Reed. He's still under 9%, which is crazy to me. Romeo Dobbs talked about him. But I don't really have a lot of wide receivers that are super low owned that I'm interested in. And then tight end wise, Chig is my highest, just a huge jump from projected ownership.
Nice. All right. Burns, what about you?
Quarterback, I'm pretty chalky today. Lowest probably is going to be Josh Allen, Jordan Love. Those are guys that are under 10%. Low owned running backs. Like I said, I like Rachaad White a good bit, so I'll have a good bit of him. Wide receivers: Jaden Reed, Kahil Shakir. Other guys that are going to be good are like Romeo Dobbs and Wan'Dale Robinson, Adam Thielen. These are all good guys at 10% or lower. And then at tight end position, Dalton Kincaid is a guy that's under 10% that nobody's talking about. I like Juwan Johnson today. So these are guys that could actually be popping. And then defense, there's quite a few that are decent, and we talked about them already, so I won't reiterate.
Okay. Tattoo, who are you looking at here?
Quarterbacks low owned, I would say Bryce Young and Mason Rudolph. Rachaad White is only 4% owned at running back. Wide receiver. I liked he disappeared on me. But Turpin from the Cowboys.
Okay.
I mean, definitely a flyer, but Romeo Dobbs was when I was thinking about. Tight end was Juwan Johnson and Tyler Conklin.
Okay, nice. Good. Well, I'll say for me, you guys touched. I'm only playing 6 quarterbacks today, and it's Sam Darnold, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, Bryce Young, Mason Rudolph, and Kenny Pickett. And then running back, I'm getting a little sneaky with Tyrone Tracy, Blackshear are really the main 2 guys there, but I also mixed in some of the sneaky guys you guys touched on. And then I am taking some shots on backup running backs today, guys like Mike Boone, Julius Chestnut, mixing in those type of plays. And then at the receiver position, guys like Reed and Jalen Coker are the 2 guys that have the most leverage on. And then at the tight end position, yeah, there's not really any sneaky plays there. Everyone's pretty chalky. So that's pretty much it for me. Happy new year, everyone. We will be back next week for the final show of the season, but I look forward to being in the Discord of everyone and wish you all nothing but the best and good luck. Bye, y'all.